Okay, I'm doing a little forging today. I'm working with 1095. It's a good high carbon steel, excellent for knives. And we'll see how this goes. It's not very hot yet. It takes a while to get stuff up to temperature sometimes. And I've got a pretty thick piece of 1095 in there, so it's going to take a while for it to get up to temperature. Once it does, then I'll start working it. I've got some other pieces I may work on too. So we'll just see how that goes. Ah, good. Fire's getting a little warm. It's okay, Winter. It's just the kitties. Got some stray cats that hang around, and the Winter dog isn't all that keen on them sometimes. Always protective of her turf. One of the things you have to watch when you're forging is the color of the metal, because you have to, as the saying goes, strike while the iron is hot. If you let it cool down too much, then it will crack when you hit it with a hammer. So, good rule of thumb is to never strike the metal unless you can see color. If you can't see the color, then it's not hot enough to work. Even though with black heat it'll be 600-700 degrees, that's still too cold to work with steel. You'll crack it, and that's not good. Ruins your steel. Some time ago, when I was doing demos at a show, I had little kids sometimes would ask me, how can you see what it's doing? How do you know when it's hot? How can you see it in the fire there? And I told them, well, we blacksmiths have X-ray vision. And that's how we can see down inside the fire. I meant it as a joke, but his eyes got big as saucers, so I finally told him, I said, no, I just have a lot of experience so I can have a feel for when it's hot enough to work. Didn't want him to go away actually believing I had X-ray vision. But that's the way it goes sometimes. I've mentioned it in the past, but I haven't mentioned it for a while. One of the things, some of the things you find out about the history of smithing, some of the things are pretty dark. For instance, in almost all cultures, the gods, their patron saints of blacksmiths, are cripples. There is a reason for that. Back in ancient times, mostly before recorded history, want to keep it hot but not burn it. Anyway, back before recorded history, blacksmiths were considered a valuable commodity. They were very valuable people to have in your village, and they were a valuable commodity for the village and for things. So they didn't want them to, they provided weapons and tools for a village. They didn't want them to fall into enemy hands, as it were. So what would often happen is a blacksmith was purposely crippled just enough so that he could still do his job and move around his shop okay and work, but enough so that he couldn't run away to the next village, so they could always catch him if he should try to run away. Because if he goes to the next village, then he'd be a good asset for them and a problem for his old village. And he might feel slightly resentful for some of the things that happened there. So they would do that to prevent him from escaping. Have to use a lot of coal because the forge is completely cleaned out, so there's nothing, no old coal or ashes in there. I always remove the clinkers, but still. So anyway, that's why supposedly all patron saints and gods for blacksmiths are cripples. You look at most cultures, the Norse have their crippled blacksmith, the Greeks, Hephaestus, Vulcan, Mulciber, whatever name you call him by, whether it's the Greek or Roman names, he was always crippled. And now they say that history has shown that that's the real reason. So it's called blacksmithing because the iron generally is black, tarnishes to a black if it's not cleaned, or else rusty red. But the other, and some people actually believe that working steel, because you have to learn how to do it, and but the smiths kept their secrets played their secrets close to the vest, as it were. Oftentimes people believe they actually use dark powers or black magic to work iron, which is strange considering in most legends iron is, in many legends, iron is dangerous to elves and fairies, and a lot of the time is portrayed as being impervious to magic. So, but hey, legends and myths don't always have to be consistent. It's best to forge in the winter because it gets awfully hot. Right now, this thing's cooking me while I'm trying to do this, but that's okay. Just goes with the territory. Gotta flatten that back part out more. Good thing I have the shade in these trees so I can see the colors of the steel batter. That does help. This tool that I'm using was actually made by my grandfather well over 100 years ago. I like to use a lot. It's made just for this, for working the coal around the fire, so. And the anvil here is also my grandfather's. So. And it's probably well over 100 years old too. I don't know how long it's been in the family. It was Grandpa's. My dad let me have it. He was a blacksmith for a time. So, I don't know how long it's actually. I don't know if my great-grandparents brought it over with them when they came over from, well, and parents on my dad's side. They came over from England and English areas. Although the family name traces clear back to the Huns. So I don't know. But Grandpa, I never knew him. He passed away before I was born, but a lot of people that knew him, my mom said my grandpa on my dad's side always said he was blue belly English, whatever the heck that means. So, once I get this thinned down, it'll move faster. I'm going to try and take this down to about 1/4 inch in thickness and probably 1.5 inches wide. If I can, which shouldn't be too hard.